I'm so thrilled to see so many people here. I'd like to welcome you. This is a fun thing to do for me personally, and several of you have said to me that you really enjoy hearing about people's background. And the origin, of course, is that for the longest time I would sit in the dining room and across from me were people that had phenomenal backgrounds. A couple of judges, a leading physician, and I'm thinking, wow, I wonder what's behind each person's background before they came here. That's the origin of this. And it's my thrill that Nelli can be with us today. Her last name is VanBatavia.
VanBatavia.
VanBatavia. I spelled it wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, is it Tavia? I think you spell it. I just can't pronounce it.
Batavia.
Anyway, Nelli, I'm thrilled that you're here. Thank you so much.
Well,
and I know
thank
that people are going to be interested in your background. So let's begin. I remember hearing that you did not grow up in the United States.
No.
Let's hear about where you grew up and what that was like.
I was born in the Netherlands, and that's where I grew up.
Uh-huh. And so about what age?
And I got married there.
Oh.
My husband was also Dutch.
Oh, we did. Yes. Wonderful.
Yeah, and but then after I was married about a month, my husband was stationed in Indonesia for KLM, Royal Dutch Airlines.
Mm-hmm.
So so after we got married, he right away went back again, and I followed him a month later.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So because he had to go back to his station, of course, and I followed him, and we lived there for 8 more years, and my children were born there. I have 2 children. I have a girl and a boy, 2 years apart, and so they were born there, and we stayed there for 8 years.
Are your children involved in aviation at KLM or?
No.
Okay.
No, my daughter became a registered nurse, and my son is in the maritime industry.
Oh.
He's a sailor.
Oh.
Yeah.
So your background, I'm hearing that you raised 2 children.
Yes.
Housewife, or I don't know what they would call in this country.
I was a homemaker.
But a homemaker. Yeah, you did that too. Did you have any career along the way?
No. Because I was married when I was 20 years old.
I understand. Yes.
And I never had to work. My husband didn't want me to work because he was gone most of the time, and he wanted me to raise our children, in Indonesia. And of course I had a very good life there, because in Indonesia you have plenty of help, servants, and you have a nanny, and you have a woman who does your laundry, because Indonesia is a hot climate.
Yes.
It's always warm there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It sounds like you enjoyed it.
Oh, I loved it. Yeah. My husband and I, we both loved it.
Oh.
Yeah, we both loved it.
Okay.
And he loved working there. And I loved, raising my children there. Yeah.
So, in the Netherlands, you born and brought up. Then,
in the Netherlands.
And then to Indonesia.
Yeah.
career, no, not along the way, or no?
No, because I
Children?
got married
She had two
very
children?
young. Yeah, 20 years old I was when I got married, yeah. And in Indonesia I didn't have to. My husband didn't want me to work, you know, because he was flying around all the time and he wanted me to stay home with the children, with my 2 children.
Yeah. What was his job with KLM?
His job with KLM was an engineer.
Oh, critical person on board a flight.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, an engineer.
That's great.
Yeah.
I'm going to change direction a minute here because based on your background, not having grown up here,
No.
I'm curious the dilemma we find ourselves in, the world.
Yeah.
What thoughts you have, or from friends of yours in Europe, anywhere, what just thoughts you have about how we deal with what we have here?
Yes. In the beginning it was good, you know, when I got here. And in the beginning it was good. It was nice here. People were very friendly. And I had to adjust though. In the beginning, I did not like being here because I left all my family behind, you know. My mother, my father, and my sister, my 2 sisters, my brother. Had to leave the ball. And in those days, you didn't have jets, you know. Those were in those days propeller planes.
Oh.
And they did not go that fast. So I was there for 3 years until my husband took vacation and we went back to Holland and I saw my family again. So it was hard for me in the beginning, you know, without family and friends.
Well, they have, I think, from what I know of Dutch culture, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
I grew up with a female in my class who was born and brought up in Holland.
Oh, yeah.
Her dad was an executive with Holland American Cruise Lines. And so they would send him home every few years to live, so they kept in the culture. Yeah.
I took a cruise with Holland America Cruise Line here to Alaska.
Oh.
They have beautiful cruises, and they don't have these big ships like 3,000 people. Though they have the ones that will not take more than 500 or 600. You know, they have smaller, where you really get to know each other, you know. It's not like fabric, you know. And, no.
I'm just trying to think and compare your background growing up in Holland versus people, majority here, grew up here.
Yeah.
And to identify how it would be different. For one thing, I think my experience is that sports at the for kids, it's very active in Europe as opposed to here.
Oh yeah,
You experienced it? Did you participate in any of those sports?
Yeah, I played basketball.
You did? Wow.
Yeah, I played basketball.
Good for you.
Yeah.
What about football, which we call soccer?
Oh, soccer, yeah. No, I didn't play soccer, but I'm of course very involved in that. Every Dutch person follows soccer every day, you know.
I can believe that.
It is, yeah.
So basketball.
Very popular.
Now, you don't look like you're over 6 feet. Right?
No, I'm not, no. I am 5, I used to be 5 feet 5, but now I'm only 5 feet, you know.
That's a strange, I've experienced it. You know, gravity wins.
Yes, gravity wins, yeah. You're right. Yeah, you're right.
Well, it sounds like growing up, in Holland. You remember books called Hans Brinker?
Yeah, Hans Brinker.
That was my
yeah.
first introduction to
Yeah,
anything.
about the Dutch culture, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Skating on the canals. And
Canal.
stuff. Yeah.
And they still do that. I skated on the canals too.
Did you?
Oh
Growing
yeah.
up as a girl?
When we had a good winter, you know, an icy winter, everybody skated on the canal, and you had during your skating on the canal, you stopped by little stands that would serve you chocolate milk and soup and
so you'd warm up inside.
warm up inside.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, it was really, It's a small country, you know, Holland, but it's very active. Yeah, very active, and people are very friendly.
And it has a wonderful reputation.
Oh
during
yeah.
World War II in particular.
Oh yeah.
Preserving and protecting people.
Yes, I was there during World War II. I was 6 years old when the Germans occupied us, and I was, and they were occupying us for 5 years, until the Allied soldiers came to liberate us. Yeah.
And I'm sure you remember that.
Oh yes,
That liberation.
yes. Oh yeah. And of course, the Germans stole all our food. You know, there was not enough food for the Dutch people left. But I had an aunt and an uncle who lived on the farm in the northern part of Holland, and they had plenty to eat. So my mother took us, my sister and I, there. So we had plenty to eat for the last year
that's wonderful.
of the occupation. Yeah, but we were liberated by the Americans and the Canadians. They liberated us.
Well, I look forward to the day when I can personally feel a sense of pride again in America.
Yes.
I've lost respect.
Yeah.
And having been brought up in Europe, I'm sure people in Europe express to you what's going on in your country.
Yes, my family, yes. They're very disappointed in nowadays. Very.
So we have to put on a good smile and change it.
And change it,
Right.
yeah, that's what we have to do, yeah. Become normal again,
Agreed.
really, yeah.
Well, I have enjoyed our conversation immensely, and I'm sure everyone here has as well.
Yeah.
Is there anything you'd like to add?
So when I went to Indonesia to join my husband there, and we loved it in Indonesia, we loved it. Of course, Indonesia was a colony of the Netherlands, you know.
I didn't know that.
And during the war, and we were occupied in Indonesia by the Japanese. They came and put every Dutch person in a camp.
Oh.
Yeah, so that, but I was not living there then. Friends of mine were living there, and they went into the Japanese camps. But I came after the war, you know, when the war was over. So that was good, yeah. Because those Japanese concentration camps were not very nice.
Well, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you survived all of that.
Yeah.
As they say.
And you know, in the beginning, when I got here, I didn't like it, you know, because it was so different from my country. I mean, I grew up in such a small country, and now I was in this big country
That's right.
with different customs, you know, and
For sure.
yeah, and I was making friends very easily, though.
I can see
So
that.
I always, my children were young when we got here. My daughter was 5, and my son was 3, and I right away took him into school, you know, kindergarten and preschool. And that's how I made friends with the other mothers. And thank goodness I knew how to speak English because we got that in Holland. You learn that in school, in high school.
Yes. Yes.
It's mandatory that you learn English, German and French because we are surrounded by those countries.
True.
So it's very important that we learn that. So I knew English, but that was very good. So I could talk with other people here.
Yeah. Well, I am thrilled that you could be with me today and share with all these wonderful people your background, which is very different than mine and probably than everybody here. So thank you so much for being here.
Oh, you're welcome. It was nice telling you about it. Very nice. Yeah.
Thank you.
I did have a good life. Yes, I really did.
And you still are.
Yeah, that's right. I'm still living. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still enjoying it. Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all for coming, attending. And I think, are you up next? Did you volunteer? You want to be the next person to?
I was told I was the next.
Okay. Good. I didn't write your name down, so I will do so afterwards. Any
Anybody
questions?
have a question for her?
Please, anybody have any questions? Comments?
Where did you settle in America?
Where did you settle?
On Long Island,
Oh, Long Island.
in Hicksville, Long Island, because that was close to the airport, to the Kennedy
All right.
Airport. Because of my husband,
Sure.
you know, we had to be close to the airport. He was flying out, and I liked it on Long Island,
Yeah.
and because I took my children to kindergarten, and my little boy, he went to a nursery school there. I made very easily friends there because, you know, because I spoke English, so they could understand me.
Boy, what an advantage that you spoke English.
Oh, that's such
Wow.
an advantage that we learned that in school, and they
For sure.
still do, you know.
Yes.
Because Holland is such a small country, and nobody else speaks Dutch. When you go out of the country, nobody speaks Dutch. They all speak either German or French or English, you know. So that's very important, yeah. And that's why my grandchildren and also speak that language. My son is in the maritime business, and he is involved in the windmills out, and he gets very often groups of people from who are involved in the windmills in Holland. In Europe, it's very popular, and they are always amazed that he still speaks Dutch. after going to school here since he was a little boy, yeah, but he still kept his Dutch up. because the grandparents came over for vacations and they only spoke Dutch, of course, so he kept it up.
Wonderful.
Yeah, important.
Any other questions or comments anybody have? If not, thank you so much. It's been a great
Thank
pleasure.
you for having me. Thank you.